Visual and Performing Arts Pathway at District 214 College and Career Ready Night. We have a really great guest of panels of staff members, alumnus, and professionals in the world. My name is Jeremy Morton, and I'm going to be your moderator. I am currently a teacher at Prospect High School. I teach theater and speech, college speech, but also I am the fine arts coordinator of both Prospect High School and our district. And I'm very excited to talk to you today a little bit about District 214 and then have great conversations with our panelists. We do have a alumnus from Wheeling High School who is currently now an actor, a singer, and dancer, and she's going to tell us more about what she is doing, Miss Kayla Kennedy. So thank you for joining us. We have also from Wheeling High School a VP creative director with Leo Burnett. I'm not going to spill the beans on what he's currently, any projects he's working on and what he's doing, but I'm very excited to learn more about his career and how he got to that currently. We have from Rolling Meadows, it says just a teacher, but all teachers are not just teachers. This woman is a drama teacher, an English teacher, and she does co-curriculars, and she'll tell us more about those. Miss Stephanie Svars from Rolling Meadows High School. And then we have from John Hersey High School in our art department, Miss Mirella Ibrahimovic. Nailed it? Pretty close. Ah, shoot. I really tried. I'll let her introduce herself more when we get to that moment. But and then we have a District 214 alumni straight from Indiana University, currently in her room studying, taking a break from studying, because when you get to college, that's what we do. Thank you, Olivia Harmon, who's going to tell us more about her career path and where she is at Indiana University. Now, when you come to Prospect High School, or when you come to District 214, excuse me, we have plenty of opportunities for you to get involved in the arts, both curricularly and co-curricularly. And so what I'm going to do today is talk to you very briefly about some of the opportunities and options that we have, but then our guests are going to talk a lot more about what they did both in the high school but also the college levels, which I'm excited to hear. So if you are interested in graphic arts, we have classes for you. You'll notice that when you look at the career pathway handbook, that you will be able to not only identify the credits that are required for you on the bottom of the screen, but also if you are interested in the pathway for specifically graphic arts, what classes would we recommend you taking? But then you can also see on the right-hand side, what are some other activities and pathway experiences that would help you potentially if you were going to want to major in graphic arts. If you are interested in studio art, whether it be 2D or 3D art, we have a path for you. You'll notice that in District 214, every student in the entire district is required to have at least a 1-semester course in the arts. However, if you are interested in the fine and performing arts pathway, we hope to see every semester filled with arts, and that we have plenty of classes and opportunities at all of our schools. If you are interested in photography, we also have classes for you, and you notice that it ends with an AP Art Studio. And hopefully by the end of a lot of your 2D, 3D photography classes, you will have that AP credit and help you as you move on to your post-secondary career. If you are interested in performing, we have a lot of performances that happen both outside of the school day, but also during the school day. We have classes that go up from all the way acting 1, 2, 3, 4, an advanced workshop. Sometimes we have technical theater classes. So if you are interested in both performing on stage or backstage, we have opportunities for you to get involved with during the school day. But in addition, there are co-curricular experiences that we will talk about more during our presentations, because we have a wonderful guest director who just finished her show, so she can explain all about that. Although we do not have any band or music players, I'll talk to you, music teachers or guests in here. I'm sure hopefully our guests may have taken a choir class or two when they were in school, so they can talk about it. But if you are interested in band, you are able to take a band class all 4 years. You'll not only be in the marching band, but you can also participate in our concert and our symphonic bands. And as you get further up in your career at your school, you can even move up to an AP music theory course. Again, just like theater and with um, acting. The band classes are meet both during the school day, but also sometimes they meet at night for large group ensemble rehearsals or even our marching band. Sometimes you have a jazz band class if you're interested in jazz band, and they meet our ninth hour or 0 hour, which is outside of the traditional school day. But those are more opportunities for you if you are interested in playing an instrument. If your instrument is your voice, we have a place for you as well. And we are looking for singers all in District 214 to share that music. You'll start off potentially in a beginning choir or a mixed choir, and you can move your way all the way up to an advanced choir. Sometimes the groups get smaller and smaller the more advanced you become. And you can also join that advanced AP music theory course. Just like the other classes, there are some co-curricular experiences in choir as well, and we'll talk about those specifically later as in addition. But the choir often meets during the school day, unless you have a ninth hour co-curricular a cappella course or a show choir course that may meet outside of your traditional school day at some of our schools. Each school does it a little bit differently. I know we have a dance major here, and so she can talk a little bit about what dance was like for her in high school. But you can take dance all 4 years and many semesters of dance, and if that is your thing, we love to have you here. If you, as a freshman, there is a group called Orchesis. You may try out for that group and make that course all 4 years, or you can take dance 1, 2, 3, and continue to try out for Orchesis, and that is an additional group. Now, the Orchesis group traditionally meets sometimes after school or before school, and they have separate concerts or dance festivals. But the dance classes also have performances of their own. Most of our fine art courses or performing art courses end in some sort of performance because they are performance-based classes. If you are interested in playing the string instrument, we have orchestra. Not only do we have orchestra within our schools, where you can start with a beginning string, or you can become a concert orchestra or symphonic orchestra. You can also try out and become part of our District 214 Honors Orchestra, which is an additional experience if you really like music and orchestral music. If you are a horn or a percussion player and you want to also join the orchestra, there is a place for you. And so these are all curricular classes that happen during the day, but the district orchestra happens at night on Monday evenings for 2 hours. And our upcoming concert is actually going to be in 2 weeks. And so we're very excited about that. If you are interested in orchestra, you too can end with AP music theory course and start to get college credit. So when you go to the District 214 website, you can find and actually read through this pathway packet. How you do that, you'll go to the academics link, you'll see the career pathway, and then you'll see the guidebook, which is on the bottom left-hand corner. There's plenty of information, a lot of information to share about our pathways, but I would love to talk a little bit about what our experiences were like for us individually, and we'll bring out our panelists first, and then I can answer any questions if there is any time at the end of this experience. So why don't we talk to fresh out of high school first, Kayla Kennedy from Wheeling High School. Nope, no, Kayla was from Wheeling. Fresh out of high school is actually going to be Olivia from Hersey High School. Did you do Orchesis, Olivia, while you were at Hersey?
Yeah, so I did Orchesis my junior and senior year, and then I also took the dance class my freshman and sophomore year, because I just wasn't ready to like fully commit to being an Orchesis, but I did end up doing Orchesis my like upperclassmen years.
That's wonderful. And did you take any other fine art courses, or was dance your major focus while you were in high school?
I took dance and then I also took photography because when I was looking into college stuff, they were talking about how like having like a secondary form of like art was good and like photography especially because it's good to have something like else that you can add like in the dance world. Like we do a lot of like video projects and like use of photography in the dance world. And so I did photography my senior year.
Very cool. Now, Kayla, you went to Wheeling High School. Why I should have do why I should let you introduce yourself. Kayla, can you please introduce yourself, and then Olivia will come back and introduce you. Introduce yourself to the group.
Hi, yeah. No, my name is Kayla. I am a not fresh out of high school alum from Wheeling High School, and I am now a professional actor in the Chicago area.
Oh, that's exciting. And so, Kayla, when you were at Wheeling High School, were you also involved in the fine arts?
Yes, I was in Orchesis, I was in orchestra, I was in as many of the choirs as I could be, and I would do the spring musical every year. Oh, and I was on speech and acting team. Yes, that's all of it.
So you were like a Renaissance person. You were all in. I love that. And you were currently working professionally. Are you currently doing anything right now that we may know?
Yeah, I'm currently in rehearsals for the White Christmas, the musical, not too far away from the district, up at the Marriott Theater in Lincolnshire.
Fantastic. So you're working professionally. So did you know right away in high school that this is something that you wanted to do, or what was your path like?
I did not. I knew that it was fun, but I did not want to be a starving artist, and that's what I thought it would be. And so it actually wasn't until my junior year we went to the Illinois High School Theater Festival, which I think is might be talked about in this. And I did a workshop with a collegiate professor, and he just kind of pulled me aside after the workshop and said, "You should actually like consider this." And it was like the first time I was like, "Oh, this could be a viable career." And that's when my brain shifted, and I was like, "This doesn't have to just be a hobby. You can actually pay your bills from this."
That's very cool. Thank you for sharing that story and get your tickets soon, I hope. White Christmas at the Marriott Lincolnshire. Look at that plug. That was
They'll appreciate it.
that's right. As far as maybe we should talk about taking kids there. Maybe that would be fun. We were like a drama experience. We offer all these really cool days in our district where if you're interested in drama, we have a drama day and visual arts day, a dance day, where students are pulled from the school day and they collaborate and work with professionals. Or we're actually thinking about maybe going on a trip. As far as what do you think about that? That's something different.
I'm so in for that. I love all of the experiences that students get at D214. Jeremy, you're actually sporting a wonderful sweatshirt that was actually designed by a student in D214. And we had a chance to take all of the theater programs across the district to New York City last year for spring break. We saw 4 Broadway shows. We attended a bunch of theatrical tours. We did a workshop that was really remarkable. And we have also got Theater Fest that we go on, which is a fantastic experience that's a little bit more local. But that involves us traveling down to either Illinois State University or University of Illinois in January to see workshops, to see performances, to see the All-State Show, which is sort of like the state level of performance for theater, and the high school level, which is really exciting. And we have lots of D214 students that wind up representing us there. So tons of extracurricular opportunities in addition to the classes and our own theater programs.
Well, that's good. And what is your name and where do you actually work? Just a quick introduction, Ms. Spars.
Yeah. And so my name is Steph Spars. I teach over at Rolling Meadows High School, and I teach the English classes over there, creative writing, humanities, and other English courses too.
Thank you so much. Now we've talked a lot about performing, so I'm going to move it over to the art field a little. Marilla, I'm going to let you introduce yourself to the group and tell us what you do, and we'll start talking a little bit about different classes.
Sure, sounds good. My name is Marella Ibrahimovic. I actually went to Hersey as well. I'm an alum. Yeah.
Hi.
So I went to Loyola University and I actually did 4 years of visual merchandising with the Room Place. Like it's a corporate job, still pretty creative until I decided later on to become a teacher. So I'm a kind of not the usual storyline where I want to be a teacher since I was a small kid. Um, I got my master's degree certified, and then I started teaching later on. So Now I teach at Hersey, the same classroom that I got to take all of my classes in, and it is like very exciting and surreal. And there's still artwork up, like two pieces of mine from 2005, which was really cool. Um, and I teach all the levels. I teach Art 1, uh, but I predominantly have stacks of the upper level students. So I teach intermediate, advanced, AP art, and then all 5 levels of 3D art.
And do students have to have any art experience to take an art class in District 214?
No, no. So that's what Art 1 and Art Survey, Photo 1, and Intro to 3D really is for. They're foundational classes where we learn all of the basics and go from there. And they're all stacked classes. That's what's actually really cool about it. Um, it sounds like I teach, 20 different classes, but in reality, in one 3D class, I have 3 students that are advanced, half the class might be intro. And so they get to feed off of each other and learn from each other and see what's next in the next level, should they choose to continue in the program. There are always students mixed in together from all levels, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, and so they can grow either together or separately. I like that. Hersey alum, huh? In the same classroom?
Same classroom. It's
It,
wild. Nothing, and honestly, it has not changed a lot.
I think I'm most in shock that your artwork is still up since, that's pretty cool.
Too, yeah. I'm telling, and I recognize all of them. Very little has changed since my art teacher was there. Yeah.
Well, well, that's I wonder if things are still the same, Sean, from when you went to Wheeling High School. Sean, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
I actually have 3 pitchers still at Wheeling. No, I'm just kidding. I don't. But hi, my name is Sean Hanaway. I'm a VP Creative Director at Leo Burnett Advertising. I actually work on the Nintendo account. Um, so I make commercials that you'll see online or on TV and rich media ads and banner ads. I do all kinds of everything for them. But yeah, I'm a Wheeling alum, 1993 kids, way back when we barely had computers. But I took every art class I could. I loved it. I had 2 great art teachers that I think really like I just learned so much from them at Wheeling. They were Mr. Brosh and Mr. Peck when I was going there. And yeah, those guys, I just learned so much. I tried to just take as many classes as I could. And then, when I think I was a junior, we went on a field trip to Northern Illinois University, and we went to the art building, excuse me, and it was just fantastic there at Northern, and I ended up going there and graduated with a bachelor in drawing, and I didn't know any graphic design or anything like that, and but I had some roommates that were, and I eventually learned it and taught myself it and got into graphic design. Eventually landed um, in advertising, but actually, after college, I was a 214 employee for about 6 months. I was a substitute art teacher at I don't know, Vanguard is still a school there. But I taught at Vanguard and the kids were great. I loved it. And but you kids should always be nice to your substitute teachers. So um yeah. So that's my story.
We learned a lot, not only about you, but we also learned that being nice is a good thing, right? And what I love, Sean, is kind of your path. Now, did you anticipate going into art, or did really things shift once you met like these teachers, or did you really like art? Like, how did that?
Yeah, I was in art. Like my mom says, I've been just drawing, but like as long as I could hold a pencil, and I would just like scribble and just fill up sheets of paper with just doodles and cartoons and stuff. So I was already into it by the time I met them. But yeah, they really helped me grow a lot.
That's
Um,
wonderful.
so
Thank you.
yeah.
Numberella, like for our artists in general, if they do love to art, there are classes for them? And are there ways, you mentioned that your artwork is hanging at Prospect, not at Hersey, but are there ways that students can exhibit their arts? What kind of outside of school shows or experiences do we offer for our artists?
Yeah, absolutely. We have one actually coming up at Harper. We have art shows that start as early as August, where we try to raise money for scholarships. Um, and we prepare for that actually in the spring to have work that we can sell um, at a fair. And then we have Harper, we have the Spring Art Show, we have the Arts Unlimited Art Show, we have IHSAE, which is kind of at Bridgeport in the city, which is kind of like our version of state. And that is just like an unbelievable experience. It's 5 floors, all art. There are live throwdowns, there are awards. It's really amazing, and some of the best work I've seen. And then students that work in the area have their studios open that you can tour. So that's actually going to be a field trip this year as well. So we like to do Visual Arts Day and then a couple of field trips throughout the year as well. So more of them will be to Bridgeport so the students can really get that experience and see what it's like. Even if their work isn't there, it's just a really great experience to see. We also collaborate a lot with the Empty Corner Gallery in Arlington Heights. The owner is a previous 214 teacher. And so we do a lot of shows there, a lot of workshops. So definitely pretty involved in the community.
And is it true? I know that I've heard students have actually received scholarships at some
Mhm.
of the. Do you know?
Yeah. So at the spring show, there is a senior scholarship. At the MT Corner, there's a first, second, third place, and that also is a scholarship from them, from the owner. So there are opportunities for that for sure. Yes.
I love that. So, Sean, this is a question for you. Have you ever you're a oh, this is I get it. This is inside information. Sean, are you also have you had stuff up in galleries in your artwork?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah, I also paint. Yes. So yeah, I've shown in galleries around Chicago, and then I've shown in Philadelphia and Miami and LA, and I forget where else, but yeah. So I kind of do it, on the side late at night, stuff like that. So yeah, it's my passion, but I make ads to make money. So.
Okay. Oh, good. Speaking of money, 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 that's a musical reference. Like it's all I got, Kayla. Sorry. So, you are I just directed, I think that show last year, so it's still fresh in my mind. But Kayla, you are a professional performer. Can you tell us if someone is out there and they're interested in performing, if you could talk to your high school self, what advice would you give? Like how should they get involved in maybe what you remember from District 214 or what you wished you did? I mean, it sounds like you did everything at Wheeling High School, but what are some things that you would highly recommend for someone who's interested in potentially maybe making it and performing professionally like you are?
Well, what I loved about my high school experience is that there were so many performance options. If you didn't want to sing and dance, there were still the fall plays and there were acting classes that I wasn't able to take in my schedule, but they existed. So getting involved as many of those opportunities as possible is just such a great initial experience. And I just can't recommend any of those programs enough because once you go to school and once you're a professional, you're still expected to constantly be maintaining your skills and techniques with like dance classes and voice lessons. And you should always be in an acting class somewhere and continuing to work. So while it's free and like part of your public education and it's quality education at the same time, like taking advantage of that as much as possible. On top, besides that, like if you are interested in live theater, going to see it, like just go to see a show. Community theater, professional, it doesn't matter. Just like the more experience you can get seeing it and exposure to the different art that's out there, make stuff with your friends. We all have these incredible cameras on our phones now. It's so easy to put up a short film and everything. So just have fun and experiment and like and take advantage of whatever opportunities are available to you.
Such good advice. Thank you so much, Kayla. Livia, you are in your like beginning to like step into that path, right? What you are at Indiana University, is that correct?
Yes, I am.
What is your major? What is your planning? What's your goal? What do you want to do?
So I'm currently getting my BFA in contemporary dance. So my goal is to do more like commercial dance with that. So I want to go into like cruise line and more just like commercial work, that genre of dance.
That's very cool. Now, have you always danced? Were you one like at age of 3, little tutu, and then you're like all the way through now, still rocking and rolling the dance floor?
Yeah, I've always danced, but I kind of didn't start taking it seriously until w right when I got into high school. And there was a lot of opportunities through Hersey that I got, Orchesis and Palms, which was really a good experience to have it just broadened my horizon of dance and what like knowledge I had of dance. And so that was really helpful to just have that experience. And it really gave me a lot of like leadership experiences too, so I couldn't recommend that more.
And now orchesis is a different word. Can you kind of explain to us what orchesis is at our high school level?
Yeah, so the best way I could describe it is almost like a dance club, but it's also your gym class. So, um, for Orchesis, I had it during my eighth period, and I would come in, well, we were on a block schedule, so I'd come in every other day at the end of the day. And then it was also outside of school. You would have rehearsals afterwards, and then we had a lot of performance opportunities, and then you put on this big show. At every school in the district. It was mainly just called show, and the high schoolers were able to choreograph for the show, which is a really unique experience because when you're at that age, at that high school level, you don't really get a lot of choreographic experiences elsewhere.
So you choreograph your own pieces, and then do you ever do like any guest artists or professional choreography as well?
Yes, we most of the schools in the district do bring in guest artists from around the area, and it's really interesting because we're right by Chicago, so you get a lot of pulls from like Giordano Dance, which are like these really big names in dance, and especially being like at IU and being in the contemporary dance program, everyone is always like, you got to work with Giordano in high school, and I was like, yeah, it was amazing. And then also we have D214, all the orchestras like orchestras come together from every school, and they put on a show at like around the end of September, and they have a guest artist that comes and choreographs like each section, and then they perform it at Prospect, which is really cool.
Super cool. Is it orchesai? What I don't know what the plural would.
I don't know, I think, or I don't know, maybe Orchesai.
I'm just playing. So you have an opportunity here at District 214 if you are in Orchesis to have, like you said, the artist in residence experience. We also have a very cool showcase where although all 6 schools perform their individual big shows, we do put together a senior kind of showcase or an end spring show where they perform for each other, and 2 numbers are selected to perform at this big show at the district level. And then sometimes we even have a senior guest choreography number, which is exciting. And what we try to do in District 214 is find ways to truly support all of our programs. If you are in our bands, their marching bands are not only competing at some of the largest competitions in the state, but even in like they travel to BOA national tournaments, but they're also playing at our school assemblies. They're playing at every football game. So you are showcased a ton if you are in our programs. And so we have plenty of opportunities, both curricular and co-curricular. Speaking of co-curriculars, Ms. Svars, you said you just finished directing a show. What are some co-curricular experiences that we offer here in the speaking and listening and performing venues?
We have a lot of those, which is so exciting to hear that so many people took advantage of just everything D214 has to offer. Many of the schools around the district offer multiple shows a year. So, if you're interested in doing a play, we have lots of different play opportunities. And a lot of those range, I think it's a goal of most of the staff members at D214 to give their students a really well-rounded picture of what theater looks like, whether it's blending, contemporary theater, looking at different classical works or classical pieces. We like to focus on that to give students a lot of opportunities to see what's out there. Like, if we're going out there after this, what do our careers potentially look like? Some schools do a radio play, and some schools have done children's plays where you work with, theater for young audiences specifically, which is fantastic. And a lot of these work around schedules and depend on the time of year. So some of you might be athletes in addition to being artists, and maybe you do a fall sport, so you can do the winter play, right? Or the spring musical. So it's really nice because you'll be able to get as involved as you want with the programs that we have here. So whether you have time all year and theater is going to be 100% your thing, there'll be opportunities for you all year, or you can kind of pick and choose based on the season. These include performing opportunities, but also opportunities to work on the production staff and on our crews. There's so many cool opportunities that exist for students that aren't always on stage. Acting is such a beautiful craft and makes me so nervous. So I'm more of a production person myself, and it's really exciting to be involved in that, knowing we have those to support students. And we also have speech and acting teams that are great ways to kind of do that competitively, which is fun. And that runs on, I guess, more of a sports schedule. You practice during the week, and then you'll compete usually on Saturdays at longer tournaments across the state of Illinois. So there's tons of different opportunities to get involved depending on your time and what you're interested in.
Ms. Svars, do people have to take an acting class to participate in the co-curriculars?
They do not. If it works for your schedule during the day, you can take acting. But if the only room in your schedule you have is after school, you can do one or the other or both.
Correct. So, as Ms. Kennedy's mentioned, if you have the time in your schedule, take as many fine art courses as possible. I know we, the staff, would love to see as many students working on their craft during the day, because there are a lot of co-curricular experiences. However, if you really want some hard, training that is going to last a whole semester or a year, those classes are really great opportunities. Now, Sean, when you were in high school, or if you could go back and tell your old self in high school, would you recommend, like, what advice would you give yourself when it comes to maybe finding the path or doing anything differently? Are you happy where you're at?
Yeah, I'm very happy where I'm at. Yeah, I mean, when I left high school, I never thought I would go into advertising and be doing this, but I love it. It's so much better than mopping up Slurpees at 7-Eleven or something. So yeah, I feel like I got a pretty good life, and I wouldn't change anything. So yeah.
Rilla, you said that you actually left Hersey High School and then you went into, what was it? Was it what was it that you were doing?
Visual merchandising for the room place.
Okay. And so do you feel that Hersey High School, like, what experiences did you have in high school that kind of led you on that path to where you were at, that you remember?
I that was my home away from home, that classroom. I definitely took every class I could and stayed in there as much as possible. And everything's free. So to Kayla's point, take advantage of that for sure. And I didn't actually know that I would have a career in art, let alone be back in that classroom as a career. So I went to Loyola thinking I would go pre-med or have a combination of like medical illustration or some kind of combination involving science, just to mostly appease the parents and make sure I'm not going to be a starving artist, that kind of deal. So, and it just was clear that it's just what I loved, what I enjoyed doing. And I got hired at the Room Place specifically because I had a BFA and not something that was very niche. Because there are so many things that are taught in the fine arts classes that may not necessarily be taught in other content areas. You're taught to be creative, adaptable, organizational skills, problem solving, prioritization, planning, critical thinking, communication is huge. And I like kind of took those things for granted and didn't know I was good at them until I had to use them in a career. Um, and ultimately that then also helped me be a better teacher as well. So very different jobs, but there were a lot of connections for sure.
I too thought I was going to go into the medical field. I thought I was going to be a pediatric doctor. And I took my first science class in college and I said, you know what? This is not where I belong. It's A, really, really difficult, and B, I'm not happy here. All right, I'm gonna go back to what I love. And I think you're right. If you follow your passion, like Sean said, he's happy. And if you are passionate about an art form, I would highly recommend exploring it in District 214, right? And make sure that it's your passion. And the cool thing about what we offer at District 214 is we also offer internship experiences where you can actually go out and work at a local art gallery. You can work with professional theaters or local theaters or high school directors and say, what's this like? And they can experience it during the high school opportunities where it is free. And then you can say, yep, this is where I want to go. Where I didn't know until I think my sophomore, junior year, after paying all my 2 years of college. My parents love them. But I did it on their dime. And so a cool opportunity that District 214 offers are these like micro experiences or internships that are outside of our buildings, which has been pretty powerful. And I know that some students have had those experiences. And I know for a fact that we've had a student work with PMMG performances or audio and visual, and they had this internship and then they got a job basically right out of high school, and then right into they went to college, came back and had this really great job working and doing these huge events in the city, setting up lights and sound and other explosive devices and making cool concerts that we will eventually see Olivia probably performing at, where they will be working, hopefully, right? You and Tay Tay or Taylor, you'll be dancing for her if she's still rocking and roll. Yeah, no, yeah, you smiled there. Okay, so maybe a little, okay, Swifty dancing. All right. So Olivia, when you um are you happy with what you did in a District 214? Like, what were some of the great opportunities that we offered besides maybe Orchesis that kids should be excited about when they come to District 214 in the arts?
Something that was really great was I had the opportunity to do an internship, that was like scheduled and planned through D214. I was able to work with Arlington Dance Academy, and I was able to work the front desk and assist in dance classes, which was just really great experience to see the whole culture behind like being in a dance studio. And it was the dance studio I grew up in, but I got an entirely different perspective, and I was really grateful for that internship because I was just able to expand my worldview on dance so much.
That's awesome. So you now, was it during the school day, or what was that like for you?
I did it over the summer of my senior year into the fall of my senior year. And I just would come in a few times during the week, and it was after school. I would just come into my dance studio. I'd work the front desk, and then there was one day a week where I was assisting in the dance classes.
That's great. So you got credit of sorts for working, and you helped solidify that you like being surrounded by art, and you
Yeah.
got to side of the table, right?
Yeah.
Um, can can we talk a little bit about, someone came in late, Morella, about and they want to know a little bit more about some visual art classes that we offer. Can you go through? I'll put up some of the slides and maybe that will help, but can you talk about some of the visual art classroom options?
Sure. And are you asking just what kind of classes we offer, or what content, what materials we use, that sort of thing?
They just said
Or
they asked
just
to the visual art class options. So maybe
sure.
about the difference of the graphic art classes, maybe even the studio arts. What are some of the
Mhm.
options?
Yeah, so I'm going to start with 3D actually, because I do get a lot of students coming in not being 100% sure what exactly they're signing up for. 3D art is predominantly sculpture, ceramics, jewelry, those sorts of things. Sometimes I have students coming in, they're thinking it's 3D modeling or something, they're like, where are the computers? And then they're elbow deep in clay. So be aware of that. It's definitely very play heavy in the 3D classes, and that's across the district pretty much. So intro to 3D, and freshmen can take that. That goes all the way up to AP. Then we have Art 1, which is a year-long class. Art Survey, which is one semester. So a very condensed version of Art 1. And then if you choose to continue in the program, there's intermediate and advanced, and then AP Art as well. So any more details on that?
Photography options.
Yes, absolutely. Photography, same thing, starts with Photo 1 and goes all the way up to AP. Those are also stacked classes. So the nice thing about it is you can kind of see what the next level is doing and what to anticipate should you continue in the program.
Thank you so much. And then if you are interested in computer courses, there are graphic art design and animation courses. Currently it's at Wheeling. Is it at another school? No, we're starting it at
Elk
another school.
Grove. Elk Grove has animation as well. Wheeling. I don't know if there was a third one, but I know those two for sure.
So it's working through some curriculum, but we have a lot of opportunities and not enough sometimes teachers or staff to get them all. So we want involved as possible during the day. But I know that there are some art clubs that meet after school at some of our buildings. So there are co-curricular experiences as well. And as I knew, this conversation would fly. We only have about 4 minutes left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the panel and ask if there's any final advice that you would give to incoming freshmen to District 214 or just high school, in whether it be focused on the arts or just in general. I'm going to start with Kayla, since you are on the top of my screen. Any final advice that you would like to share with the group?
I would just say, even if you have no intention of doing this as a career, do something in the arts because it's fun. It's a different way to use your brain. It's a different way to be yourself and discover more about yourself. And you're going to be a more well-rounded person for the experience. So just do one of them. It doesn't matter which one. Do at least one at least once.
Thank you so much. Marilla.
Thank you. Very similar to what Kayla just said. And just to kind of piggyback off of that, when I went to Loyola, I noticed that although there were only 6 of us that graduated with a BFA, the art program is enormous. It is just 4 floors, amazing facility, and it's not just for the 6 of us, right? There are students that wanted to go and pay to take these classes, even though they were going to be future surgeons, future nurses, future whatever and so I noticed, especially in the ceramics classes, the students that were planning to go into being surgeons took that class quite a lot, and it was very helpful for them. So it definitely a different way to, again, yeah, like Kayla said, using your brain in a different way, but also just the hand-eye coordination, definitely therapeutic, and it's just very highly successful in schools where most of the students go in for sciences.
Thank you so much. Olivia.
I would definitely agree with what everyone else has been saying. But I would just say really take advantage of these amazing opportunities that there are at D214. There are not a lot of schools that have these opportunities, and just try out as many different things as you can, because you'll never know like what's gonna click and what you're really gonna love. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Sean.
Yeah. Like Olivia was saying, like you guys do have this opportunity. You have all these classes, I mean, you guys are set up in this district better than, a lot of other ones. So yeah, I'd say take advantage of all that stuff and find something you love doing and just do it so much that you feel like you've gone in over your head. Just keep busy and I guess just keep busy. Keep yourself busy. Keep pushing because no one else is going to push you. So,
Right. Thank you,
up to
Sean.
you.
And Steph.
Sure. I think that if you feel like you're afraid to try something or do something new, you're in the right place. You're in the right place to do that and encourage skills that you never knew you thought you would have. I love the idea of discovering a passion. But also, all of these resources are available just about for free. And there's very little once you graduate and you go either onto college or onto the professional world that is provided at this scale. So why not take advantage of everything that you possibly can because you never know what skills you'll gain or honestly, for I think a lot of our students, it's the community that matters most. You will find your greatest and wonderful friends in these programs.
Thank you so much. And get involved early. I have too many kids who senior year do something like, I wish I did this earlier. And I'm like, gosh, me too. But you know what? I've been very excited that I had this opportunity for the last 45 minutes to meet you, the panelists. Thank you so much, Kayla and Morella, Olivia, Steph, and Sean for joining us. If you have any follow-up questions, my name is Jeremy Morton. You can send an email to me at jeremy.morton@d214.org. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, and we cannot wait to see you in District 214. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye now.